Hi, I'm Bob Rehill. I'm the founder and CEO here at Bob Rehill Associate Network. Really excited about today's conversation with Rachel from Ceridian, talking about some of the challenges both Ceridian and myself are seeing across the social care industry in today's market. Let's go and have a chat with Rachel. Hey, Rachel, great to connect again today. How you been keeping?
Very well, thank you, Bob. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. I'm really looking forward to this. I love the background you got there, and your smile always keeps me makes me happy as well, Rachel. So, I think when we met last time, it was at the rewards event, right, in November 2019.
It was indeed. And me personally, I'm looking forward to being able to travel again, as you know, one of my passions.
Well, listen, we're at the end of March now, and it looks like things are opening up, and we can start to see people, and the sun is shining, right? And it can't be a bad place. Well, listen, really excited about today's conversation because we're going to talk a little bit about the challenges in the social care industry, right? And what are you seeing? What am I seeing as well? And it's an area that both Ceridian and us at Bob Rehill Associate Network work within, right? And we help organizations. Talk to me a little bit about, Rachel, what you're hearing in that industry and what you're seeing, some of the challenges are that they're having to go over.
Yeah, certainly, Bob. So actually, Ceridian recently sponsored a roundtable event. So we got together with several of the leaders, the top leaders in the UK that run some of the biggest social care organisations. So, there's great appreciation for their staff and the work that they've done, during the pandemic, and a real desire to want to really look after their employees, particularly with sort of looking after recruitment and retaining their employees as well.
Yeah.
In terms of challenges, Bob, it comes down to they've had such increased costs over the last sort of, 12 months. And, I think it's really made people reflect on how they do things, how they operate. And there's still so many manual processes and the time it's taking to process payroll, roster staff, and that they need to transform to grow, but also to reduce those costs. So, I would say there's some of the biggest challenges that people are facing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we're seeing the same thing. And I think, we all know that the social care industry is actually growing, right? Because people are living longer, the elderly are, which is great news, right? And we will have our loved ones around for a lot longer. But you're right, the industry is growing, there's more need for it, but also it's becoming more competitive, right? And so each of these organizations is looking at how can they continue to be competitive. We know that during the last 12 to 18 months with the pandemic, the challenges in the social care industry have been huge, right? And hats off to them. I know it's been a very difficult time for many in that sector, but they also have some of the most challenging environments. So hats off to them. It's quite interesting you say that. They do, I am seeing the same thing. They're thinking about how do they look after the employees. I think one of the things that I've seen is actually them looking outside of their industry, right? And starting to think about, well, actually, let's not just think about what other care home providers or care, social care providers are doing today, but let's explore the market, right? What are other industries adopting and adapting to, and how can we bring those into the social care industry? Because you're right, it's a little bit behind the technology times, right?
Well, I think the thing is, Bob, if social care industries are really complex organizations, so at the center of everything is obviously the people they're caring for, but they're made up of also facilities, catering and hospitality, and so there's a lot of different things that are actually rolled into giving that care to the people they support. So there's a lot of things to to think about. So it's quite complex there, but I think technology can play such a large part in terms of enhancing that employee experience and that employee engagement, and particularly mobile technology. And everybody has a mobile phone these days, even my father who's in his 90s, and the ability to provide more flexibility, in terms of looking at the shifts they're working, requesting a holiday, swapping shifts, even picking up additional shifts. But also going back to recruiting the best staff. It's about that experience and engagement from the first time the applicant has come onto their website and engage with that organisation through to that onboarding process and their first paycheck, and making that a unique and enjoyable experience for them.
No, it's really, really interesting. And I think you're right. You know, the employee experience is now becoming the fore, right? Because if you can get the right experience, the staff are looked after, and they feel loved and cared for, and actually easy for them to work. And, you know, one of the things actually, we know some of the challenges in the industries around workforce management, right? How do you manage shifts and the complexities of having the right people in the right place? And we know that's one of the biggest drivers of the costs within the industry as well, right? The people being in the right place at the right time. And we know that, as you say, you've got catering staff, you've got specialist doctors or nurses and care providers with different skills as well, right? So it's about rostering or managing that workforce across, and some of these organizations have multiple, you know, and hundreds of homes and care, you know, care facilities they need to look after. What sort of things are you seeing companies adapting to, adopting, to help drive that sort of management as well?
Well, Bob, it's amazing how often I'm coming across these processes are still partly manual, or still, you know, using Excel partly for some of these things. And because the care sector is made up of, if you like, often lots of different homes or organisations, sometimes they do their own thing. So, you know, to bring that all together in, you know, the ability to immediately be able to see your staff that are available, to make sure they've got the right skills. You know, compliance is such a big thing in the social care sector. So, you know, have they got the skills to do the job? Are they doing the right hours? But also, it's about the flexibility of, you know, there might be somebody that normally works in this this centre or this care home or this residential supported house. They might be able to cover elsewhere. So, you know, rather than getting agency staff in, you might be able to utilise your staff in a different way. So it's having that visibility to make those decisions, really, and that's sort of vital. And also see what it's costing you.
No, exactly. And the conversations I've been having recently with a couple of care home providers or social care providers is exactly that, right? How do you use technology? And we know now, moving to the cloud and the ease of, you know, and access to that information and technology is a lot easier. But you're right, the conversations I'm having are, well, how do we make ourselves more efficient? How do we start to adapt? And how do we start to become leaders and at the fore of the industry and get others to follow? Because I do think there's a massive opportunity in the industry for them to upskill their technology, and you know, and that's what I talk about. Really coming out from where they were before, lots of disparate systems, lots of manual processes, things not necessarily talking, or complex integrations, as I call them, through to something that's a little bit more seamless, accessible, and gives them some data insight that allows them to make some good business decisions, right?
I'm seeing a lot of organisations are looking at digital transformational projects, Bob, and you know, the thing is, there's such a piece of work to do before you get to that point. And you know, just putting in new technology alone, you know, there's the other side of it as well, and there's that organisational readiness in preparation for it. You know, people need to be really, really clear about what it is they want to achieve, you know, to be reviewing their own processes at the moment. There's no point in replicating processes they already have, you know, but it's also making sure that the organisation and that cultural change is in place as well. And, you know, businesses need a lot of help to do that.
No, it's, and you know, it's there is a real opportunity here, right, in the industry, in the social care industry, to make change. So listen, tell me more about, you know, what are you guys up to then? What are you bringing to the industry, Rachel, that you think, you know, if anyone's listening in from that would you know, should consider, right?
Well, it's about helping organisations to be different and be as efficient as, you know, as possible, and using that technology to really help them. So, you know, in terms of differentiating themselves in the marketplace, you know, social care, they're not able to offer the highest paid jobs, but they can differentiate themselves in different ways, you know, by offering things like pay on demand. So that's the ability that as soon as someone's worked a shift, you know, that they can actually be paid for it. And also, you know, to really provide the intelligence and the information for those informed decisions, and to have that visibility of data and those immediate costs as soon as someone's worked the shift, or to look at that information across the whole platform from recruitment through to pay is really crucial to make those business decisions.
Yeah, and that's interesting, that pay on demand. I love that, because we think about the social care industry is about looking after the well-being of the elderly or those that need that social care. But what we're saying here on pay on demand is, as organizations, you need to think about your employee well-being, right? You're looking after, looking inwards into your organization and say, are we providing the same level of care that we would expect to give out internally to our organization and our people? And pay on demand is just one of those areas that looks after the financial well-being of your employees. And obviously things like mental well-being and all of those things are really equally important, because there are times when employees at work are going through some very difficult times and very difficult situations. So that whole employee well-being situation is something that I'm seeing a lot more people looking at more importantly as well.
Yeah, and regularly touching base with your employees and that communication tool to be able to check how they are, and really look at things like performance reviews with them, and just help them as much as possible through training, and and really looking after their well-being.
Well, Rachel, it's been, I'm conscious that I always try and keep these to 15 minutes. It's a fantastic concept. I could talk to you all day long, Rachel, actually, and especially over a glass of wine, right? We've had a few of those in the past. But listen, it's been great to catch up with you. I think, what I'm taking away from here, and I don't know if there's any other takeaways you've got, but I think it's about, this is an opportunity for the industry to really step back and actually look outside of the industry and see what other organizations are doing, but actually take the opportunity, as we say, to just look at the options that are out there and be innovative. I can never say that word, but it's, be innovative, bring some ideas from the other industries. Why can't this sort of the hot tech that's used in financial services industries or others be used in the care industry? And there's a real opportunity to leverage that back office capability from other industries into the care sector. What other things would you say, Rachel, that the industry needs to be thinking about?
I totally agree with what you've said there, Bob. And I think it's all about the resource as well, and making sure that they've got the resource for that digital change, and product champions, and super users and people that can, way past the implementation, be making sure that they're working with, the organization, their suppliers in partnership to really make sure they get that return on investment, to be championing the solution internally, and also when you have new people on board, making sure they're being trained properly, so they're really getting the value out of that solution.
Fantastic. Rachel, it's been lovely catching up with you today. I think the industry is going to be exciting over the next 12, 18, 24 months. I think there's a lot going on, and I think you're seeing there is lots of change. But listen, it's been wonderful having a coffee chat with you. Look forward to us getting together with a proper glass of wine soon. But in the meantime, wish you well and look after yourself.
Okay. Many thanks, Bob. Lovely to see you. Bye.
Thanks, Rachel. Bye now.